Happy New Year's Eve, everyone. Is that a thing that people say? I'm not quite sure. Today on the 12 Rants of Christmas, anyway. You know what I don't miss about being young? No, I'm not going to talk today about the hope that you have that your future is going to involve everything you ever dreamt of with minimal effort, or not worrying about money like literally all of the time, or not being permanently a little bit tired. No one tells you about that. No matter how much you sleep, you're going to be still a little bit tired all the time and want your bed. Or being able to stand up in my 20s without making that weird old man noise every single time. Like, no, I'm not going to talk about any of that. Instead, I'm going to talk about how I don't miss the fucking stress of the 28th of December rolling around and having to frantically find something to do on New Year's Eve. Every year throughout my 20s was the same. You get on to your friends and you ask if they've got any plans. They give you some vague, non-committal response. So you try and say, okay, so if you don't have any plans, will we just make some plans? So, and they'll be like, yeah, I just need to see it for free. I'm not sure what's going on. There might be this, and I'm waiting on my friend Derek to get back to me and so on. And they're not being dicks or anything. It's just like more a case of nobody's brain is willing to function on Christmas week. So they can't even think of making plans. So now I don't have any plans and I'm in every man for himself mode and need to accept the first text that comes my way. But then on 30th of December, the same friend you got onto originally asking about plans is back in your inbox saying, so what are we doing? We need to get started on New Year's is going to be gas. And I'm like, I'm going to fucking Marbella with some guys I barely know. Gary, I would have fucking loved to have not booked these expensive flights for a trip I don't want to go on and spend it with you and the guys, but I'm a man of my word. So now I'm gonna have to go on fucking holidays with Sven and his school pals. So now I'm in Marbella and we're all just sitting around a wonky table in the middle of a field outside a hotel in the freezing fucking cold, which I was sure it would at least be warm if I went away for holidays, but no, doing shots of I don't know what. And this is a well-established friend group of Sven, so they're all doing like inside jokes and piss poor broken English because, well, they're Sven's friends, so they're Swedish obviously, but they're trying to include me too, so they're being a little bit friendly, but their attempt of trying to include me involves telling stories and making jokes that I wasn't there for to begin with because I don't know these people. We go out that night and we end up in some random shitty Swedish-based nightclub with Avicii and Bass Hunter on repeat. Then at midnight, we're all like 10, 9, 8. And the same thing happens as every year at the end of the countdown. What are we counting down for? We know what's coming. Nothing. It's just time to buy a new calendar and everyone is, for some reason, delighted with that. Why? Why are we celebrating this? All that's going to happen for the next few weeks of our lives is we're all going to write down the wrong year whenever we need to write down the year and look like idiots. This is not fun. And now I'm lost. And I've lost Sven. I don't actually know the way back to our Marbella hotel as well because its name is in Swedish, so I can't even spell it on Google Maps. So instead, I wander around aimlessly on my own, copying and pasting the same generic Happy New Year's message into WhatsApp group chats, pretending that this night is amazing. Everyone in the club has someone to shift apparently at midnight but me, and they all then turn and laugh at me cruelly, again in broken English because again, remember, all Swedish being like, ha ha, ugly little Irish guys, not enough of a man to kiss any of these beautiful Swedish kvinna. Kvinna is Swedish for women obviously. So I go outside for a smoke and it's a nice night, so I decide, let's just go for a walk. So I walk and I walk and walk until I end up at the airport and the rest of my stuff is in the hotel I can't find. So I just decide, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna write it off and use my remaining Christmas card money on an early flight home. Upon touching back down in Dublin with one tear hanging from my cheek for hours, my phone springs back into life and there's a voice note on it from Gary saying that this is the best New Year's ever, man. I can't believe you couldn't make it. But you know what, Gary? I could have made it. I could have made it. 2 days beforehand, I was yours. And now I'm entering this New Year's not even knowing who I am or who my friends are anymore. And look, obviously none of that happened and it's just stuff my socially anxious mind imagined while I was waiting for Gary to text back. But this is how crazy the mindset of needing to make plans for these stupid days make me feel. Halloween and Paddy's Day, for example, the exact same. Except if you're out in a pub on Paddy's Day, there's not even a countdown to look forward to. So you're just standing there, sculling pints with your friends, celebrating being Irish. Except you don't even have to be Irish anymore because they've now exported that shit worldwide. So now it's just celebrating the general concept that Irishness exists. For Halloween, at least people are dressed up, and that can be funny, but it can also lead to some weird fucking situations. Like one time I was out by myself in the smoking area of a pub, this is a true story, dressed as the honey monster, and some random bloke started a fight with me. So I had to then take him down and choke him out, at which point some of my friends just walked around the corner and saw me as the aggressor being like, why are you choking out some bloke while dressed as the honey monster? And I had to be like, he started it. Or you get the worst case scenario of dressing up and making an effort and then the plan's just not panning out. Like, I'll never forget one Halloween where a so-called party we were invited to in our 20s that my mate sold as his girlfriend at the time and all her single mates were going to be there ended up being like an 8-year-old birthday party where 7 of us just sat around a kitchen in a strange house with me dressed as Wagner from the X Factor, by the way. You don't even know who that is. You don't even get that reference. That's how badly that's dated. And we're just sitting there awkwardly while the Monster Mash played on a loop, and like the person's mom just kept coming around with like platters of food being like, treats, anyone for treats? And I'm just sitting there like, treats. I'm 27 years of age. I don't need treats made by a friend of my friend's ex's mom to facilitate my fun. I mean, yes, I will have one of your sausage rolls coated in mozzarella. They are to die for. And can I get the recipe off you actually? But the point still stands. Fortunately, there was a dog there, so I spent most of the night out the back smoking and throwing him a ball while he listened to my lamenting monologue, just being there like, it wasn't supposed to turn out this way, Chewbacca. And don't get me wrong, I've had some good times too, and even in the miserable ones, I've made some friends for life. Shout out to Sven and Chewbacca, for example. But these days tend to only be good when you've got actual plans to do that you're excited for, rather than forcing yourself into a situation with friends where you're expecting a mass outbreak of fun to happen at any second, which just never ever arrives. In my 30s though, about as far as I'll go to celebrating, if I don't already have plans and absolutely have to, is watching a good Irish movie on Paddy's Day, or a horror movie on Halloween, or practicing writing the day that New Year's falls on the wall in my blood so I don't get confused and get it wrong when I go back to work. But the point is, if you're at a loss today, don't do what I did and book flights to Marbella. Don't believe your friend if he says that his ex's single mates are all going to be there and dressed up real slutty and stuff. Do something you like and are genuinely excited for, or alternatively, do nothing. If you like to sleep, get an early night. It doesn't matter if you stay up for the countdown. Nothing is going to happen. And nobody gives a shit when they ask you what you did for New Year's and you say, oh, I just had a quiet one. And that, my friends, is how you have a happy New Year. Whatever you get up to, enjoy yours, especially you, Sven. Gott nytt år! Happy New Year in Swedish, and Happy New Year in Swedish to all of you as well listening.